Okay, hi everybody, it's me. It's Thursday. Well, after last week's zany massacre, um, that episode was good. You know, some people were hating on it, I guess, to a certain extent. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Anyway, this one, Jujutsu Kaisen, Culling Games, episode. I think it was this 5? Yes. This was episode 5. Basically, this one was called Passion. Now, this is basically bro. This episode was two halves, basically. That's how you gotta say this episode is, because the first half has to do with the principle of Jujutsu Kaisen, faculty of the Tokyo, Yaga. So apparently, um, Kyoto Jutsu High principal, Yoshinobu, he's interrogating him. He's interrogating Yaga because they want his technique, which is basically to put souls into cursed objects that are like almost human. They're like animals, and they can create their own curse energy and so on and so forth. So he wanted him to give him that info. He doesn't do it. And the end result, well, there is a scene also where he there was this little boy. I didn't really get the whole gist of that. Named Takaru, who had a mother, and his soul is inside of a doll. And he has consciousness and everything. But we get that scene. It's very touching, and the mother's falling all over the place. And end result is Yaga dies. They kill him. And the principal of Kyoto Jutsu High is like, why didn't you tell me beforehand? And basically, he gives him a line of saying, it's a curse. And now he basically says, now I have cursed you. Kind of a badass line to say. Panda goes there and starts crying his eyes out. It's a really emotional scene. I don't know how I feel about it though, because it's kind of weird having this scene, and then we go into the whole Hikari. By the way, Mappa. I mean, I will say this one thing about Hikari, the third year of, the other third year. The voice actor they picked for him, it does fit. It does fit. Of course, I'm talking about the guy who does Zoro, which I think this is the second, maybe third anime I've seen him in. But it does fit though, because of the way Hikari's character is, the voice does fit in a certain way. But basically, what ends on happening in this whole regard, Yuji and Megumi are going to go to the fight club to fight so they can corner him and try to get him to join their side. But it doesn't go tits up. He gets in. He gets in. He fights, and Akari wants to talk to him. And the conversation goes well. I mean, before he actually meets Akari, we have a scene with Megumi and Panda, because Panda's there. Panda's there fighting Yuji. And it's like, he's kind of like doing this thing where he's playing. He's like pretending. Oh, they're fighting. It's like really impactful. It was really cool seeing them fight. It was crazy, but it's just for play. It's not like they're hurting each other. He pretended to lose Panda. It's just silly. But Yuji starts talking to Hakari. He slips up though because Hikari asks him about Gojo, and he legitimately feigns ignorance. He says, "I don't know him," and that's when Hikari realizes what the jig is up here. And then what's funny is this scene when he's talking to him is done in a weird shot. Like the shot is Yuji is facing Hikari this way. So here's my hand, right? And this is Yuji facing this way. And Hikari's on the other side, facing him. But it's from the side view. And they're talking, he gives him a drink because he has a phone call, he doesn't answer it. Then he asks about Gojo, and then he knows something's up. And then all of a sudden he starts fighting him, and then legitimately, last scene, they butt heads. And now is basically the episode. I mean, this is all basically gearing towards them joining forces, the Culling games. They're trying to basically get Megumi's sister not involved. That's the whole gist. Now, the next episode is called Cog. Now, logistically speaking, this is the way you gotta look at it. And as far as ratings concerned, I'll give this a 9 out of 10. I do. I think it was a good episode. I enjoyed last week's more. I know people say, no, it wasn't that good or what have you, but I enjoyed it. I'm still going to give it a 9 out of 10, only because of the beginning, before credit scene with Yaga. Very emotional. And then we had the whole business with, the whole business with Hikari. So next week we're going to get the fight with Yuji and Hikari. And the whole Cog thing has to do with Yuji. So basically, if everyone remembers last season with the Shibuya, when he fought, even though he's dead, gonna have to look up his name. I completely forgot his name. It's probably not even here. But anyway, when he fought, I can't believe I forgot his name. Mahito, that's right. So when he fought Mahito, there was a point when he got pushed too far, Yuji, and he just says how he is a cog and, who's just, turning and all that jazz. So basically, that's what I think next week's going to be about. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where Yuji explains what he is because of Sukuna and everything between. So it's that kind of a way in that direction. But this episode was good. Like I said, 9 out of 10. So we're going to get this fight next week with Hakari and Yuji, and it's going to spill out, what have you. So it should be very interesting. I don't know how far Mappa's going to go, because this is part 1. So chances are, they'll go far, but I have a funny feeling we're probably not going to get the whole thing. I'm hoping we at least get the WTF moment. Anyone who reads the manga knows what I'm talking about regarding Sukuna and everything in between. But we shall see. So Bankai 22. I'll see you guys later. Hakari's played by Zoro. That's the bill. I'll see where this goes there. I'll see you guys later.